What is up, guys? It's Simon from PianoPig.com, and in this video I'm going to show you 3 common mistakes that I always see beginners making, and I'm also going to give you some tips and advice on how to avoid making these mistakes. If you enjoy this video and you want to get access to loads more videos as well as support directly from me, then you should definitely consider signing up and becoming a member of the PianoPig Academy. And you can find all the details over at PianoPig.com. Let's do it! So one of the most common mistakes I see people doing when they start learning how to play is playing triads like this. And the mistake here is the fingering. You should never be playing a triad using your second, third, and fourth fingers. You want to be playing them like this. Or at least you should start by learning them with this fingering. Your first, third, and fifth fingers. You can also play them like this, with your first, second, and fourth fingers. This then allows you to add these sevenths when you start developing your chords a little bit. And also when playing triads built off black notes, this 1-2-4 fingering actually sometimes fits better than 1-3-5. So there are 2 ways you should focus on when you're starting out with triads. Fingers 1-3-5 and also with 1-2-4, whichever you prefer. The second mistake I see a lot of beginners make is trying to play with flat fingers. So their hands might look something like this. And although that might not look terrible to a beginner, there is so much wrong with this. When you play with flat fingers, you hardly have any control. You're constantly at risk of hitting another note by accident. It's so easy to do. And your fingers are no way as nimble when they're all stretched out and flattened like this. And most importantly, your use of dynamic control is massively limited when playing like this. When you use the tips of your fingers, you have so much more control. You have a much larger expressive range and also much less chance of accidentally hitting 2 notes at once. So if you notice yourself playing with flat fingers, take the time to really focus on playing with the tips of your fingers. And once you build up the strength and muscles in your fingers, it will become completely natural and you won't even have to think about it. Moving on to the third and final mistake that I see so many people doing is trying to play too fast. Now, I was massively guilty of this for a period when I was younger, but going through that really taught me that it's so much more efficient to practice slower. It might be something as simple as practicing your major scales. You might get to C major and think, yeah, I know this, let's just rush through it so we can get on with some other stuff. And you might play something which sounds a bit like this. So yeah, sure, I played it, but it was messy. There were a few mistakes, the fingering was wrong, and it just wasn't played as well as it could have been. What you really need to do is slow it right down to the point where there's no way you could make a mistake. You know, really take your time. And so on. And also using a metronome really helps with stuff like that. The reason this is so much more efficient is because when you play it at this slow speed, your brain has so much more time to soak it in and internalize the muscle memory required to play it. And building this muscle memory up will actually allow you to play it very quickly, much sooner than if you only practiced it really fast with lots of mistakes. And this doesn't just apply to scales, this applies to absolutely everything. If you're learning a new tune, practice it slow. If you're learning how to improvise over a chord progression, Make sure that the changes are really slow. Don't ever rush through anything, and if you keep making mistakes on something, you're practicing it too quickly. So there are a few common mistakes that beginners often make with some tips on how to avoid them. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, then make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.